The truth is being exposed. In today's video, I'm going to break down how the truth is truly being exposed. But before I do, I want to speak from my heart. Feeling very emotional today. I'll just be honest and transparent with you guys. I don't believe in followers. I believe in friends. I believe we are here together right now because we're in the same vibrational frequency. I don't do this to try to get likes and comments and go viral. I do this to speak my truth and based on what I'm going through within this current paradigm. I use my social media posts, my Twitter account to express my awakening, to express the things that I'm studying, and to express the things that I'm truly going through. So as I go through the reporting the news over the next couple years or the past 2 years, if you watch me, or 3 or 4 years, is all I'm doing is sharing with you guys what I know. I don't know if this will work for you, but it's worked for me and radically transformed my life. What I stopped waiting for was an invisible savior to come down from a sky. I stopped fighting an invisible enemy and I started working harder on myself than I did anything else. I built a true relationship with what I call God, not some guy in the sky with a magic wand that's going to shoot lightning at me because I'm a sinner, but my relationship with God. Following the principles of Jesus, to love people unconditionally without expectations, to pull the log out of my eye before I pull the straw out of yours, and to love God with all my heart and to love humanity as I love God. And I don't know why I'm sharing this. I'm very, very emotional. It's been a interesting month for me. And the reason why is because there's a massive transitioning happening right now. And you can believe this or not. I'm not even going to report the news today. Actually, it's Coinbase green lights for investors to trade crypto futures. BlackRock's connected to Coinbase through Aladdin. Coinbase is tapped to custody their Bitcoin ETF. There you go. BlackRock and Coinbase are connected. There you go. Hidden in plain sight. There's the news. Let's talk. Let's talk about this. There's a massive transition happening in humanity right now. So the religious people call it the rapture, spiritual, whatever people I follow. I love God with all my heart. I love humanity as I love God. I follow the life of Jesus. You know, there's Christians, there's Jewish, there's Muslim, there's Buddhist, there's all kinds of different paths to their enlightenment, right? Um, but there's one truth that remains the same: the truth that our world is going through a massive transition from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, industrial to technical. But there's a massive spiritual awakening happening right now. And the reason why I bring this up is because they're disconnecting us from our soul. So people talk about NPCs, non-player characters. Within an NPC within the world is someone who's just connected from their soul. When they asked Jesus who rules the earth, they said that the devil is the prince of the earth. Now, what does that mean? The further we get away from the light, the deeper we get into darkness, the further we get away from our soul, the more stress we get, the more anxiety we get, the more chaos we get, the more chaotic your life looks. I'm sure you can look internally at your thoughts. There's only three things that we can control. There's only three things as a human being you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. Your thoughts are what you think on a daily basis. Your actions are the discipline and consistent things you do, good, bad, or indifferent. And your emotions are the reactions in the way that you react to things. So let's pretend for just a moment that there is some evil person up in the sky, or excuse me, evil person on this earth that's a puppet master that's controlling everything. Okay, let's just pretend for a moment that that does exist. Let's pretend that this really evil group of people exists. Let's pretend. So if you were a group of evil people, what would you work to control if there's only three things in humanity that you can control as a human being? And you have free will to do this: your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. So which one would you work to control? Comment down below. I'm going to give you the answer: your emotions. If I can control your emotions and I can keep you in fear and I can keep you in bondage, what can I do? I can control your thoughts. And if I can control your thoughts, I will manipulate your actions. If I can control your actions, I can move you into a direction. So what you're seeing within humanity, I'm going to break it down from a macro microeconomic level, and I'm going to break it down from a spiritual level so we can all hear these words. From a macroeconomic level, if you follow Ray Dalio, the changing world order, he calls it a transition in a macroeconomic cycle, right? We have bad policies. We have over leverage. We have weak leadership. We now have civil war. People in America are going against each other, left versus right, a woke versus non-woke. You're seeing it within America. And then you go into global war, which is a big transition in economic system. Religious people call it the rapture. They feel that some white horse is going to come down. The believers are going to go up and the non-believers are going to go down. There's people like me who focus harder on myself than I do anything else. And I can feel the frequency change. I can feel the separation. So there is something happening in our world. And I've broken down the facts, figures, numbers, logic on problem, reaction, solution. There's a problem that's created, creates a reaction. The people controls their emotions. And the person who created the problem and created the reaction and manipulated your emotions comes up with the solution. So as I report this stuff, I want to make it very clear what my message and purpose is. My message is not to gain followers. My message is not to get you to protest or go against anybody. My message is that you have free will to get your shit together. That every single person watching this one, probably won't reach thousands of people because it's not breaking news or anything like that. It'll reach the ones who have ears to hear and eyes to see, right? Or ears to hear and eyes to see. I don't know if this will work for you, but I know that my life is radically, radically transformed over the 17 years. I have no sponsors. I haven't been paid by any cryptocurrency companies. I built my whole ecosystem. Every bit of income comes from my own creation, things that I created, so I can speak like this. So I can speak about my faith in God. So I can speak about my relationship with Jesus Christ. So I can boldly go out there and put my faith out there. Because I remember when I was in corporate America, there's two things you couldn't talk about was politics and religion. Why is that? Think about that. Why is that? It's a corporation. It's dead. You're trading time for money. You're enslaved. All of humanity is enslaved right now. So what Jesus said is the devil is the prince of the earth. So if you knew the devil was the prince of the earth, what would be your job? Would it be fighting an invisible enemy, letting them control your emotions, which controls your thoughts and your actions? Or would you look at yourself in the mirror and fight the darkness inside of yourself through becoming disciplined with your fitness, with your mindset, with your community, with your actions, your behaviors, controlling your thoughts and controlling your reactions, which are your emotions? And if you did that and built a relationship with God, communicated with God, and boldly proclaimed who you are meant to be, then maybe your life would change. I don't know, but it's worked for me. And how do I know this? Is 17 years ago, I was a drug addict, a massive opiate addict. I committed suicide on December 18th, 2006. I took my own life. And the interesting thing was I had no relationship with God, never was taught about God, never was taught about Jesus up until 31 years old. I think it was 30 or 31. December 18, 2006, whatever age I was, I'm 47 right now. Before I committed suicide, I got on my knees and I prayed to God. I'd never prayed before. I'd never been taught to pray. I'd never been taught about Jesus. I'd never been taught about God. But for some reason, in my darkest, darkest, darkest hour, I turned to this thing called God. But it wasn't a guy in the sky with a magic wand. It wasn't something. It was a feeling and vibration that there was something bigger than me that wanted me here. So 48 hours later, I woke up to a phone call from my mother to a book called The Secret. That book called The Secret became Thoughts Became Things. And I started to control my thoughts and I realized that my reality started to change. And then I got really disciplined with my actions and my behaviors. And then I ended up in Buddhism, which is really interesting. I started practicing Buddhism and, a Buddhist monk was really cool. A Buddhist monk taught me two powerful lessons. The first one is I was sitting in this tent. I can't sit Indian style very, very well. And everybody was sitting Indian style. And I was just kind of moving around. I couldn't get into meditation, right? He comes up to me and goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I can't sit Indian style." He said, "Why are you sitting Indian style?" I said, "Because everybody else is." And he goes, "So?" He goes, "What makes you comfortable?" I said, "Laying down." He goes, "Then lay down." And he walks by and he whispers in my ear. He says, "Always be you." Didn't hit me until a couple years ago. That was almost 16 years ago. Then we're doing walking meditation in the backyard. And it was like this thing where it was like everybody was feeling it. And all of a sudden I'm like, I feel it. I got it. I felt the sun on one side of my face and the breeze on the other. My monkey mind shut down. And I asked him, I said, "Is that it?" He said, "Is what it?" I said, "Is that I felt the sun on my face and the wind on my on the other side of my face, and my monkey brain had shut off." And he's like, "I don't know." And I walked out of Buddhism because he wasn't giving me the answer. And what I realized 16 years later, what he was saying is, number one, always be yourself. Who gives a shit what other people are parroting to you? Who gives a shit if you believe in God? Oh, someone's going to get mad at me for saying shit in God and things. So I apologize to those who it offends. Who gives a crap if you believe in God and you have a relationship with God and all these judgment people are coming after you? Do you? If you love God and you love what you're doing and you're being a good person, then do you? If everybody else is sitting Indian style and you want to lay down, then lay down. And the second lesson I learned is he didn't have the answer for me. This Buddhist monk was like, "I don't have the answer for you. I'm not God. I'm not your God." He's like, "If you think the breeze on one side and the sun on the other side and your monkey brain shutting down is the answer, so be it. That's the answer." So the question I have for you is, who is giving your information? What is the answer for you? Yeah, if you're in cryptocurrency, you're going to be pretty wealthy. But in the process of becoming a millionaire, multimillionaire, or billionaire, who are you becoming in that process? Ask yourself a question the last 24 hours. What was your actions? What was your behaviors? What does your browsing history look like? What does your debit card transactions look like? If I went through your text messages, what does it look like? Not judgment. I'm just saying, like, if you went through your text messages, if you looked at your internet browser and your debit card transactions, what discipline, what are you disciple of? Right. And if you're constantly casting judgment on other people, have you looked in the mirror and asked yourself, are you perfect? So here's the principles that I follow. I love God. I follow the life of Jesus. Obviously, I'm not looking for followers or likes or comments, because if I wouldn't talk about this stuff, because somebody told me one time. But before I go into this, somebody told me one time in the recent past, they were an influencer like, JB, you realize by you're it was when I came back from Peru last year. I think I really started to talk about open up to my relationship with God, right, on my socials. They said, you realize that's gonna ruin your following, man. You don't talk about God. I said, why? Y'all, that people don't want to hear that stuff. I said, I'm not putting out what I want people to hear. I'm putting out who I am. It's social media. It's my social media. It's my expression of myself. So why would I put anything different? It's like, oh man, it's gonna ruin your business. I was like, then so be it. If me expressing my truth ruins my business, then it's none of my business. You see what I'm saying? So my principles are, I love God, and I love you as I love God. I pulled a log out of my eye before I pulled the straw. I'm emotional as shit right now, guys. I just got done crying. I'm just being honest with you guys. Call me a wimp, call me whatever. I just had a massive breakdown before this. That's why I look chaotic. I had a massive breakdown before this. So I pulled a log out of my eye because I can't pull the straw to yours. I'm all jacked up myself, right? And what I do is I follow principles of Jesus. I study nonstop. When somebody tells me I'm wrong, I say, prove me right. I study their doctrine. I dive into it, right? I have books all around me. I'm just a student of life. And I realized that when I knew nothing, I gained everything. When I realized that I have everything, I got everything. I started doing everything opposite. I did my finances opposite, my relationships opposite, my studying opposite. And when somebody spits doctrine at me, I listen, I accept, and I look to see if it's wise counsel. It's very easy to see if it's wise counsel. So I love you guys very, very much. I have no idea why. I just want to express that. I just came out of a massive breakdown, just being honest with you guys, being completely transparent. Be it that I'm weak or whatever it is, but I'm going through some stuff right now. Everything's okay, though. It's because humanity is transferring. I can feel it deep in my soul. I can feel the energy is so heavy for me right now, so heavy for me right now. And maybe I'm feeling it because I'm really diving into it. I'm putting that snake up on the cross and I'm diving into it. I'm studying and understanding why I feel this way. But I'm here to tell you something massive is coming. I believe it's going to kick off fourth quarter 2023. September, October, November, December is going to radically transform this world. The capital markets, I believe, are going to come collapsing down. I've been preaching this for a very, 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 very long time. The energy frequency is changing. And if you don't have a relationship with God, however that shows up for you, I'd highly recommend you build a relationship with Source God. I highly recommend you build some family structure and some principles. I highly recommend you focus on the three things you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. Your thoughts are what you think, your actions are what you do, and your emotions are how you react to the things that you are seeing. And if any person, media, person, human being, man or woman, can control your emotions, they have power over you. So I love you guys very, very much. Many people ask, well, how can you get a hold of us and how can you be part of it? We have a massive community. We've had over 7,000 warriors worldwide. Our 120-day challenge is our foundation. It's getting your shit together, controlling your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. And then we have our 5 pillars of wealth. We've helped over 7,000 people. It's in the description of this video or my social. We also have a lot of people that are worried about their retirement or their 401k. We teach people the benefits of tax code 7702. I'm a licensed insurance agent. We've helped hundreds of people so far since we've launched this really have a free conversation around index universal life and how to ensure compound your wealth with tax-free retirement. Remember, there are options, but nothing's going to happen unless you take action. No president's coming to save you. So I love you with all my heart. I love you. I love you. I love you. I appreciate you and I hope to meet you someday. Warriors, rise. Get your shit together. Thank you for letting me express myself.